We're live. We are on. How are you, Eric?
Excelente. How are you, Tomas?
Oh, it's a blustery day here in the neighborhood, but it's a good day. It's a very good day. No
Good.
complaints.
Good. Every day's a good day.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's as good as you make it. You have to
True that.
will it to be good.
True that.
That's exactly
So, hey,
right.
today, mindset and communication. I'm stoked to talk about this because it's been part of a lot of conversations I've been having recently around the real estate industry. So I think it's going to be a fun topic today.
Very timely. Very timely. Okay. I'm excited about this.
Where should we start? Want to start with mindset?
Let's start with mindset. Yes.
All right, let's hit it. So mindset, I think, is one of the most critical components to success in any area of life, anything that we're focused on. And the reason is that reflects where we're putting our attention. And in times of transition, whether that's life transition, whether that's market dynamics, like whatever those factors are, the stuff that we're putting our focus on is the stuff we're giving our energy to. And in my experience, focusing on things that have a negative influence or a negative connotation to us through our perception drains our energy faster. It's like your car running at 6,000 RPMs. Your fuel economy would be depleted if you drove at that pace all the time. And so my belief is that the negative energy consumes, or the negative focus consumes our energy at a much faster rate than positive focus. And when we're around positive people and we're focusing on positive things and we're focusing on the things that we can control instead of things we can't control, then our energy becomes more of a renewable resource and it's sustainable for longer periods of time.
That is so true. What you're saying totally reminds me of the Saturday Night Live skit, the Debbie Downer skit. So, when you're around people who suck the energy out of you, it's draining. It's literally draining. And, starting out each day with a affirmation, or today's going to be a great day, or, what's going to be good about today, then you're already starting to climb. If you're complaining, you're already in your descent to do a nosedive.
Yeah, that is so true. And I love that you brought up starting out the day, because I think that's critical. And so one of my personal practices is that when I wake up, the first thing that I do before I leap out of bed with enthusiasm to greet the day is I pause and I do some reflection, and I start with gratitude. And I have a standard starting place of the things that I'm grateful for: the gift of another day, my own health and well-being, the health and well-being of my children, my family, friends, loved ones. So I start there, and then I shift my focus to gratitude for the opportunity. And I think about what's ahead of me in the day ahead. I think about the relationships that I'm really grateful for, and the things that I cherish. And the things that I cherish, and I think this is true for most of us, are not really things.
Right.
It's really people, it's experiences, it's opportunities, it's progress. That's the stuff that's really enriching to life.
You're absolutely correct. If you start out on that note, it's remarkable how good, and what's amazing is it only goes up from there. And when you have that, when you start out with a open mind, like last week, I had an amazing experience. I got a text message from you, a voicemail message from you. I got a voicemail message from a gentleman I've never even seen before, and he's struggling with some addiction things. He says, "Tommy, I'm 68 days, clean of this." And I said, "Okay, that was a hooray." And then I saw a family of ducks, and I was just walking, and it was just amazing. And it seems so stupid, but starting off with such an amazing way completely vaults your day. And when you're grateful, people want to be around grateful people.
Mm-hmm.
If you're crusty and having a bad attitude, no one wants to hang around those types of people. Mm-hmm. That negative energy, businesses are ejecting people who have negative energy like that. We don't want to be around negative energy people. And it's not like everything's just puppies and rainbows in my life, but if you focus on what's good, and then the good just seems to find you. And that's how I live my life, and I know you do too.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think it all starts with awareness. It starts with awareness, acknowledgement, and appreciation. And the example that you gave from your experience last week was you had an awareness of it, right? You acknowledged what was going on around you, and you had an appreciation for it. And so I think sometimes the opportunities, the connections, the feelings that we're looking for, the things that we're chasing in terms of like fulfillment, growth, achievement, like whatever that happens to be manifesting at this moment in time in our individual circumstance, those things are right there. They're all around us. We just have to be open to them. And I mentioned before perspective, and I think it's important to understand about perspective. There are two things that shape our perspective on the world, and that's the lens that we're looking at life through. I think I said that right. The lens through which we look at life. That's probably better articulated. But perspective is that lens. And a perspective of gratitude changes the way that we're relating to the world than a perspective of being grumpy or adversity or life so hard, or like focusing on all the things that are not exactly in alignment with our expectations. And the reality is that when our expectations are too strongly attached to exactly how something has to be, then what happens is we're living a life of entitlement. And there's two things that shape that perspective, Tommy. Number one is our past experiences, and number two is our belief systems. And unless we hit the pause button long enough to reflect on our past experiences, look for the lessons if there's things that didn't go our way, reflect with gratitude on the things that did go our way that created amazing experiences or opportunities or things we appreciate in life, but then look at our belief systems and start interrogating those and asking, where did that come from? Why do I believe that? Because a lot of those things, especially in this day and age where we're so digitally distracted and overwhelmed with information, a lot of those things, especially on a subconscious level, are being orchestrated by society and orchestrated by companies that are spending hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to manipulate the human psychology. And unless we're aware of this and we're intentional about how we approach the world every day and what our perspective is, we may fall prey to, not having the best experience that we want to have.
Well, and I grew up and I've been around a lot of leaders and I've been around a lot of managers, and I don't want anybody to think that this is a manager leader issue, but many times a manager will come to you and say, okay, this is a crappy situation, and we'll look at the negative side of things. But the leader said, okay, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity for overtime. We have an opportunity to delight a customer. The customer threw us a curveball, and how we handle this curveball, they knew that we could, take the curveball and whip it right back and make something good out of it. And so again, this isn't a leadership manager, because I know there's lots of great managers out there, but leaders want to take you to the next level and take you to the next level. A good leader would do it through a positive attitude, and will help you change your mindset so that when you are around them, it's kind of infectious. And can I share a story of a great leader I was around a couple years ago?
Yes, absolutely. I want you to. And I want to articulate one thing from what you just said.
Please.
Leaders think in possibility, okay, not problems.
Right.
You're focusing on the problem. I mean, whatever the problem, challenge, adversity, hurdle is, it just is. It's just part of the process. It's just an event in the process. But focusing on possibility creates opportunity. So share your story, please.
So my story is, for those of you who might be big YouTube people, I had an opportunity to go to Orem, Utah, to a company called Blendtec. And Blendtec makes these industrial blenders that are in like Starbucks. They're in 31 flavors. And
they're also in Eric Kelly's kitchen cabinet, just in case.
Eric Kelly. Okay, so EK's got one. Well, Blendtec was run by a gentleman by the name of Thomas Dixon, was the CEO, and he used to run this show called Will It Blend? And it started out really stupid because people would ask, hey, will this blend? Will this blend? And then he starts putting iPhones in there and iPads and all kinds of like footballs. And, for the Super Bowl, he would blend a football. And for the Stanley Cup, he'd blend a hockey puck. And it turned out to be he's got billions of views on internet. So I was going to the plant. I knew their social media manager. And she said, hey, why don't you come? I'll give you a tour. Okay, great. And my brother and I are about 10 minutes out. And Thomas Dixon, the CEO, met me at the front door. He said, hi, my name's Tom. I'm your tour guide today. Thanks for coming.
No way.
And so this is like a $500 million company.
Yeah.
And this guy's walking us through the plant. And what was really amazing is that, and he said, at the time, he said, I have 400 employees and I pride myself on knowing the names of every single one of them.
That's
and
awesome.
He did. Hey, Judy, how's it going? Hey, Sally, this. Hey, don't you have to pick up the twins right now? You should be home. That he knew exactly what was going on. And we're walking through the plant, and it was like it was his home. And it was like he was the shepherd of all these people. Yeah. And he said, here's our Pinewood Derby track. And here's where we do this. And that left such a lasting, indelible mark on me. Because he didn't have to say, why aren't you? He didn't have to, have the clipboard and the pencil, do this, do this, do this. He walked around. He treated these people like gold nuggets. And you know what? When you get treated like a gold nugget in that mindset, you want to give a gold nugget back. And it was just such a great experience.
That's an amazing experience. That's absolutely incredible. And what a great example of leadership. I think the true definition of leadership is identifying where people have strengths and unique abilities.
Yes.
And then helping them to move toward what's most important to them in their life by leveraging those strengths and ability in a way that benefits the business.
Correct. You want to surround yourself, and I've said this before and you've heard it from me. If you think that you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room and you're in the wrong business. You shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. You should surround yourself with much smarter people so that you can lift each other up together as a team, as a unit to move forward.
Man, I so agree with you. In fact, I'm pretty accomplished at that because I'm generally sure I'm not the smartest person in most of the rooms I get to go into. So that's good. On the right track.
But I think it's important. If you surround yourself with great people, you build them up. They want to build you up. If someone's just going, man, this is going to stink. This is going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
But if you look at that flat tire, okay, well, I got to hone my, tire changing skills. And yes, I was late for that meeting, but I had a good reason for it. If you take for instance, my daughter and I, we were in Atlanta, Georgia, and we had just seen my brother, and Emma was like 9 years old, and we're at the airport and we got fogged in. And Emma looks at me and goes, okay, Dad, looks like we're going to have an adventure. And I said, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have an adventure. And we got on the tram. We went to the international area because they have live music always playing in the international area. And they had sushi. And we just went from different places and we videotaped where we were, videotaped our escapades there. And we had an adventure. And
I love it.
Well, and it could have been, this would have been really cruddy. Mother Nature threw us a curveball. Or we're going to have an adventure and we're going to make the best of what we got.
Yeah, that's choosing it. And you create an amazing international experience with your daughter.
That's cool. Right. That's
yeah. So I think, we talked a little bit about positive attitude. We've talked about leadership. I think the most challenging form of leadership for any of us is self-leadership. And that kind of brings us back to mindset, like being intentional about where we place our focus every day. And then also being accountable to how we're showing up in the world. You mentioned what energy comes into the room with us, what we're focusing on. And this is going to kind of lead us to part 2 of this conversation today, which is around communication. So I think communication begins with our own thought patterns. And if we're on the path of personal growth, if we have aspirations to expand our business, to make an impact, to create something significant, to be able to contribute in a meaningful way to those around us, whether that's the clients that we serve or to our family or to our community, any of those are contingent on our ability to communicate. And that begins with ourselves. How are we communicating to ourselves? What's the story that's playing in our heads about what we're capable of and what we've done in the past and what's holding us back? Because I think that's the true lid on any of our individual capacity. I think almost any human being, if they have a strong enough desire and they get clear on an intentional plan and they are willing to be relentlessly committed to executing the plan, they can accomplish almost anything they want in the world.
That's so true. And, the mindset and the communication, they really go hand in hand. I mean, if you wake up in the morning and go, today is going to be a rotten day. If you start out that way, and then you say, you know what, I got some phone calls to make. I'm going to start calling people and I'm going to start dialing and I'm going to see if I can, get some of my, people who are buying, see if I can get some showings. And if you're already kicking the dog, there's no way that it's not going to come out in the way you talk to these people.
That's so true.
It's gonna, and you say, no, I can shield it. No, you can't. It's gonna eke out. There's only so many tacks you can put in your shoe.
Yeah.
If you're having a lousy day, and that doesn't mean we all have lousy days. We do.
Right.
It's gonna happen. But if you're kind of willing it to be a lousy day, and then you're going to communicate with someone, even in an email, say, well, it doesn't come across in my email. I bet you it does. You might be snippy. You might be a little bit curt. You may not have fully read that